Hello, it is day 2 of the top secret production. Very productive day yesterday. Got a couple of takes down. I think we're pretty happy with it, although what we planned to do today, I'll see, I'm on the way there again this morning. Andy wants to do one more take just while he's fresh, just to see if he makes a better take, and then the plan is then to up sticks and move across the other side of Kidderminster over to Lode Street Studios, where we're going to do some of the editing and the production on the drums. The clients have asked for like a full drum mix as well as all the stems, which is all separate tracks, and from then it's in their hands. I'm not sure what they're going to do. There is some video footage which I have already put in to the video, so we shall see how it goes. We did have a conversation about this channel and about what I need to do for it, and I think the sort of consensus is, at this point, it is a case of, as I was saying yesterday, just start documenting the processes of what I'm doing, and then hopefully get you guys to sort of interact and start telling me what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, and we'll go from there. We also did do a video for Andy's channel where he proved me right in his supremely eclectic knowledge of music, by randomly picking some of his vinyl and seeing if I knew anything about it, which I knew very little. There were a couple of things I recognised and quite enjoyed, and then there was some which I'm like, I have no idea. So, and it is this sort of, these are these conversations that I have, especially on his channel, where it does help me refine what it is I need to do. Because there are certain things that I, certainly can't do, which is, talking about a lot of the history of certain things. There's lots of genres of music I know a lot about, which I will probably at some point go into on some videos. But for me, I think the sort of delving more into actually the physical creative process of what I'm working on, I think is probably at this point exciting me a little more, and also from being a musician or a creative person in general, I do suffer from the same thing that many creative people suffer from, which is actually just this sort of, it's not a lack of motivation, but it's a sometimes quite immense and crippling procrastination. Sort of deciding, what should I do? I'll think about this, I'll think about that. And unless it's something that I'm directly being either, paid to do, or there is a immediate direct result, which gives me some satisfaction, either in monetary or an end result, then sometimes it's easy to just not do that thing. Which is why, partly doing this thing as well, and this sort of vlogging situation sort of puts me out there as, almost promising to do something, and then I can get held accountable if I don't do it. So, I'm very far behind on a couple of creative projects that I really wanted to do, and so maybe this pushes me forward onto it, I don't know, but time will tell, and I shall just keep pushing, see what happens. But in the meantime, I shall be in the studio shortly, and we shall go from there. And I have just realised that what I am now doing is completely on autopilot. Because I'm talking to you, I'm on autopilot, and I am driving to the wrong part of Kidderminster, so that's clever, isn't it? And in the sort of, the instinct for me would be to just edit this out and not show people that I've done this. But I'm going to commit to it and leave it in, and then decide, how do I get back over to there then. Brilliant. All right. Well, I'll see you soon.
Okay, I'm in a bit slow as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just jumping in here to introduce the next part of this video. It was something I wasn't actually going to pop into a video because it's already been covered by Andy Edwards' YouTube. But as I was putting this video together, I realised that there actually isn't much footage in here of what I was doing, because it was, as you can see, it's finishing off the recording project for this for the secret project. So I thought, well, I need to add some more into this just to make it a little longer video. And so I thought, well, what the hell, I'll put some of the footage from the lovely, wonderful evening that Andy and I spent in the company of Sting and his band. We got to watch from backstage and met the man himself. Absolutely lovely man, down to earth. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. But what we were doing backstage before the gig was chatting to Dominic Miller, the guitarist, and Chris Maas, I think it's pronounced Chris Maas, the drummer. And Sting has put together this power trio, which is sort of a callback, I think, to the original Police lineup. But of course, they're doing Police songs and Sting's solo stuff. And myself, I've more been a fan of Sting's solo career just because that came later. And so I wasn't sort of around really for when the Police were doing what they were doing mostly. But, the 10 Summoners Tales is one of my favourite albums of all time. And actually to watch him put that together in this power trio was really, really interesting. And we were talking a lot with those guys about how they, how they were putting it together and how it worked. And actually, interestingly, it all still works. We were talking a lot about the power that that a song might have, without all the production, without the other instrumentation, the strings, brass in places, and whatever else is going on. That actually, if you can strip back all of that and the song is still strong underneath, then I think that's a really powerful thing. And it's actually something that I, very early in my career, my early stuff with the band, as some of you may know, Groket and Haynes, which then later became River City Portrait. The way that we worked, there were two of us who were the writers for that, is that we would write stuff really basically on acoustic guitar, voice, but use the studio to build everything up from that original sort of song idea. And the idea is that then we could take it out as a band, or we could go out as a duo, 2 acoustic guitars, maybe using a bit of percussion, either of us, and the song is still there. And to sort of, at this point now, which is, maybe, what are we talking about, 20 years later, that seeing that on this level is really interesting and kind of self-validating, I think. The experience of being backstage is nothing particularly new to me. I grew up sort of, having access to that with my dad's bands. And so, spent a fair amount of time doing what we did, sitting backstage and talking with people. But for me, that was never anything particularly special. This was particularly special. I'm going to put up some footage now of the gig, or a little bit. I'm stealing some from Andy Edwards' YouTube, which will probably flag this up now for copyright, maybe. And I'll pop a couple of the photos that I took as well, just to put you into the moment for a little bit. I hope you enjoy.